Good evening, everyone. This is Cherif Medawar, and I'm so glad you're joining me. This is the call for all the joint venture partners that are actually with us, and we're going to get right into it. The call tonight is for how to contact tenants. We received quite a few.
The broadcast is now starting. All attendees are in listen-only mode.
Good evening, everyone. This is Cherif Medawar. As you know, I am a hedge fund manager, and I'm also an educator. And this call is for all the joint venture partners that are actually getting single-tenant properties and assigning them to me and the fund. And as you know, we have the website cmrei.com that you can go to it with your passcode and watch trainings, watch our card webinars, and listen to all this good stuff. We've received calls and we've received, emails for questions that were sent to support@cmrei.com. Always send your questions to support@cmrei.com. And I make every effort to answer them on these calls on Monday night. So I want to get into it. The calls we've received and the emails we've had the last few days were about contacting tenants. And I'm going to go through a list of questions that were introduced to us, if you will, and I want to clarify a few things to you. So a question of what is the best approach with the tenants? Well, the best approach with the tenant is, first of all, go to the website that has the tenant list. Before you actually look at all the tenants, start thinking, based on the location, what I have seen, who is the tenant missing? So you start looking at the area and see who are the neighboring tenants, and you start thinking, who would be an ideal tenant? And you can compose a list. Try to come up with 5 to 10 tenants. When you go to the tenant list, then it's online. You can search for these tenants and get the phone number, and then you're going to start calling them and asking them. And as you look at the tenant list, maybe you think of other tenants that you see their names you never thought of before. This is what happens to me. I never thought, I was looking for a location, I never thought of Taylor's shoe store. And when I saw them on the tenant list, I thought, oh my gosh, that would be great. And I called them and they said to me, we would love to move in that location. In 3 years, the lease is going to expire in another side street, so we're going to keep your number. You know how great that information is? That's a slam dunk deal that's going to happen in the next 36 months. So awesome to be reminded to just approach it with a list that you have in your head, plus look at some that are on the tenant list that we provide you to actually be reminded of who could be there. Now, question I keep getting, how do I get to the right person? Well, I know that we give you the name of the right people and the phone number, and these people get transferred, get promoted, quit, get fired, etc. How do you get to the right person? When you call the company, ask for the leasing department. If they don't know what that is, ask for the real estate department, and then they will connect you. And if they don't know still what's the leasing department, real estate department, tell them, hey, I have a strip mall, or I have a single tenant building, or I have a shopping mall, and I'm looking for the person in charge of leasing that signs the lease. Then they can say, oh, okay, that's Joanne, or that's Susie, or whatever. Then they're going to transfer it. That's how you get to the right person. Also, people ask me, what should I say on the phone right away? Of course, we do that in the live training, and you have a film, a whole video of it with practice with the tenant. But what you say on the phone is usually you're going to get a voicemail message. And what you say is something like this. Hi, my name is Cherif Medawar. I'm calling you regarding the location I have at 123 El Camino Real, which is 2,000 square feet of street level, on a busy street that has 20,000 cars a day. I'll be sending you an email right now about this phenomenal location that has neighboring tenants from Starbucks to Dunkin' Donuts. Across the street, there is a very nice little strip mall that has X, Y, and Z tenants. The subject line of the email will be opportunity in Cupertino, California. I'll be following up with you tomorrow. My name is Cherif Medawar. My phone number is da-da-da-da-da. And then I hang up. And then I have the email ready to be sent. And I have the email with the subject being Cupertino opportunity. I have the body of the email saying, thank you for taking my voicemail message. This is the email I promised to send to you. This property is 2,000 square feet. Please see the attachment. It has the front, the sides. Here are the neighboring tenants. Here is an aerial view from Google Earth link. Here's a little video I stood in front of the store, showed you the inside. Here's the plot plan. You're going to get all this information from the seller. So This is what you send by email. For what should I send by email? You have the package. Look at it online of a sample packet and how to do it and how to personalize it for them. How should I follow up is the next question. Well, this is very sequential, obviously. The next day, I call, usually after lunch, around 1 o'clock, 2 o'clock, that time. Most of these tenants are usually West Coast, somewhere in Los Angeles. So I call at 2 o'clock, and I go like this. Hi, this is Cherif Medawar, following up on the call I left you yesterday and the email I sent you with the subject line, Cupertino Opportunity. I'm sorry I missed you. You can go ahead and call me back or respond to my email. I will try you again before the end of the day. Guess what? They will either call me back or they're going to email. If they email, they're going to say, I'll be calling you tomorrow. Don't call me again today. I'm busy. Or they're going to say, call me tomorrow at 11 o'clock. I'll be available. Or they're going to say, hey, don't call me again. Well, fine. No problem. Or they may actually email and they say, we have some questions. Could you send a picture of? Could you send a side picture of? Can you send another plot plan? I couldn't open it. Well, great. These are good questions. When they know, I give them another message saying I'm going to call to send them the email and how to follow up. All right? What if I do not have answers? What if they call you and they say something like, okay, would you agree to sign for a 3-year lease? And you know I want a 10-year lease. You don't know. You don't have an answer. What can you say? You can say, let me check with my associate. Let me get all the points down. I'll get you an answer immediately. And you compose a little email for me, and you send it to me. You can even say something like, well, if you want to negotiate some bullet points for a letter of intent, let's get on a conference call. I'll bring my associate on, and we can finalize everything. And schedule it. And you can say, hey, you know, Cherif, this company want to get in, got the property under contract. Here are the pictures. Here's what I send them. They're ready to talk, and we have 2 choices, tomorrow at 2 o'clock or after tomorrow at 4 o'clock. And guess what? I'll make myself available. This is the best thing. All right. So what if you don't have answers? Tell them, I owe you a right answer. I'll talk to my associate. What if they ask for comps? That means, what if they say, well, so you want $15,000 a month for that location? We need to see what comparable rents are. What do you do? I know you're stumped right now. Very simple. We're buying the property. You got the property under contract. So we're trying to place a tenant there. We're going to call the actual broker or owner and say, send us some comparable rents from that area. They will send it to us, and we will know what the real rent is. And you know what? I've said many times to tenants, I'm not going to get you. I don't own the whole street if I don't. You know, sometimes I do. But if I don't own the whole street, I don't know what the street, what other tenants are paying, but I can tell you that there was a vacant space, and they were listing it at $18,000 a month. And I can tell you that across the street, Subway has been there for a while, and they're paying $14,000 a month. And that's an older lease. So sometimes I just go with that. Remember that sometimes the person we're talking to, that tenant representative, needs to sell the concept and idea to the credit team and the committee they're going to meet with once a week to tell them about the location that you present. So we need some information to help them. Good. Oh, I guess I numbered them wrong. Anyway, I was in 7. This is 8. So what if they ask to buy the property? What if the tenant tells you? I had a situation where I was talking to the tenant, and they said, listen, we would like to know if you're interested in selling it. Well, what if you have the property under contract and they want to buy it? Here's the best answer. Well, we would entertain to sell it a year from now. Maybe you can come in now, and we can work an option with you for you to buy it down the road within a year. Why do we want to say that? Because if they buy it now when it's vacant, they're going to get it for a song. But if they come in and they are the tenant and they have an option to buy, guess what? With the mere fact that they're tenant, it's going to cost a lot more. And when they come in as tenant, they already invested in the property, tenant improvement, etc. So when you sell it to them, they're already so committed, you can ask for a lot more money. So I usually tell the tenants, I mean, it happened only a couple times in the past, but I remember one specific time where this tenant representative was an attorney, and she said, look, the owners are brothers. It's a big company. I don't want to mention the name, but they said there are 2 brothers, and they're very interested in buying that location. Are you interested in selling? And I said, oh, yes, of course. Maybe in a year down the road, why don't you come in and just make sure first that you're making the right numbers so that it makes sense for you. And she said, oh, that makes a lot of sense. And I said, all right, so let's go ahead and sign. And she said, well, I have to sign like a tenant and negotiate it as a tenant. Will you give us so many months free? I said, oh, yeah. Guess what? A year later, when I called and said, hey, you have the right to exercise an option to buy now. Would you like to discuss an appraisal? Because we didn't even talk about the amount. We just said we'll have it appraised. She said, oh, no, we deployed the money in other locations. We're now expanding like crazy in Florida. So I said, guess what? I had already signed the lease with them. Very happy that they came in, spent a lot of money on the property to do tenant improvement. They spend the money, and it was great, a win-win for all. Okay, what if they need to visit? What if they say, we need to visit the property? And all you do is try to make it as soon as possible. So tell them, oh, well, give me a couple dates. And they say, oh, well, this week Friday, or next week Wednesday, or the following week Monday. This week Friday, make yourself available. That's why I want you to look in your own backyard. So once they visit, this is very good news because now they're investing in that location. They're spending the money to fly people in. They're spending the time and effort. They're getting the designers to work on how it's going to look when it's done. They're taking pictures, etc. It weakens that negotiation. So very powerful. If they need to visit, make yourself available. And always show up early. And if you got to call the broker to open the space because you still have it under contract, you get there before the broker and you tell the broker, I have my team coming in. This is very confidential. I'd like to have private time with them. Believe me, the broker doesn't want to tour with you. They'll open the space. They'll stand outside because they don't want you to ask them questions. They just want to make the sale. I love that. Okay. What if they say no at the end? What if they say, you know, listen, everything is not for us? Ask them why. What's missing? Is it bad timing? I had a situation of trying to get Nautica in a location, and they said no. All I can tell you is no. The committee said no. I'm thinking they don't like the space, you don't like the layout, you don't like the tenant improvement I'm going to spend, what you need more time. And then all she said at the end was, no, it's just bad timing for us because we're not going to expand till next year, end of first quarter. I said, so can we revisit next year? She said, yeah, absolutely. We're even going to look for a franchisee or a licensee that will come in that'll have to put $1 million. And we're going to start looking for that. How can we make sure the space will be available? I said, well, we can talk. So ask them, why not? What's missing there? And maybe they just are overwhelmed with some other things. Maybe she's going to say, or he's going to say, bad timing, or we need to do this and that. Understand why no. And if no, fine, no big deal. You haven't lost anything. You can pull your money out or go to another tenant. What if they want to discuss terms? You're worried. They say, we need to discuss terms. We're going to have the boss on the phone, whatever. You tell them, okay, I'll get my associate on the phone. And you set up the time. I will set up the conference call. We can all go on the call, and you get to watch me, and I want you to even tape me when I come do this conversation. You will learn a lot. You'll learn you will master how I do the letter of intent negotiation, and it just flows. And you will see I use humor. I use conversation back and forth, quid pro quo. I'll give you this if you give me that. I negotiate all the points at once. By the way, I've done a whole webinar on this for you guys. You can go back and review it. We've done negotiation with sellers, negotiation with tenants. You can watch that stuff and listen to it. You need to get to see it in action. If they want to discuss terms, more power to us, that's a close. What if they ask if you own it? I have somebody send me an email say, what if they ask me if I own it? Never lie. You can say, I have it under contract. I'll be closing soon. I'm talking to several tenants. Are you interested? Believe you me, the tenant couldn't care less if you own it yet or not. All they want to know is, will we make money in this location? How much will it cost us in marketing to make it happen? And if they like the location, they're going to say, okay, is it a lease and sublease? Is it you own it? Who do we rent it from? And hey, don't worry, because if they're going to send you the letter of intent, guess what? I'm buying, and once I own it, they're going to sign the lease. What if they want to meet with you in person? Well, of course, this is like meeting at the property. Don't worry about this one. I got a couple of people asking me about what if they want you to meet them. They will never fly you to New York to go meet with them, or to Europe, or to Los Angeles. They don't care really. I have actually met people on the phone and dealt with them for years with follow-ups and renewal of leases, and have never met them in person. Just the other day I was talking to this lady, and I said to her, you know what? I just went on LinkedIn to see how you look like, just trying to put a face to the name, and you got no photo. And she laughed, and she said, I'll load it up and send you a link. I mean, I thought that was so funny, and it just was a totally different level of conversation. So don't worry, they're not going to want to meet with you. They just want to see the space. And if they do meet with you, wear something nice. I mean, like business suit. You're a landlord. You're representing millions of dollars in commercial properties. You don't want to act poor, or oh, it's a new deal, or I'm trying to assign to make money and pay off credit cards. You don't want to appear like this ever, because the tenant then panics. Oh my gosh, what if we pay them rent and they don't pay the bank? Right? So be professional. Don't do anything like an amateur. I'm here to support you. Those questions will help you a great deal. And remember, we got all the training online. All what I'm doing is archived. You already, if you're listening to this and you haven't attended, you know, we got the August dates, so we got a couple spots left, September dates for Cancun. So let's just go ahead and make it happen. Review the old archives. They will help you a great deal. Review the frequently asked questions online, and keep that flow of these going. Let's make it happen, and let's just get some deals going. I look forward to getting your success story very soon. Thank you guys for the call. Ashley, do we have any questions that came in through the call?
No, I think you covered everything. Great job.
Okay, thanks a lot, guys. Continue sending us questions on info@cmrei.com. And until next week, goodbye.